Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how I was able to convert a teen's mental health data set from this to this. So I downloaded this data set from cargo.com and I cleaned the data. This is the cleaned version of the data. I did the pivot table, I did the pivot chart with the slicers, and then I created this dashboard. So let's quickly dive into how to analyze these data sets. So here is the data set. In case you want to follow along, I'm going to drop the link of how you can be able to get this data set in the description. So we have this data set. I downloaded it from cargo.com and it's in my Excel file. So the first thing I'm going to do obviously is to clean the data. Well, the data is not that messy. It contains up to 1,200 rows. Well, it's not that much. So it's 1,200 rows. So, and it's not that messy. So we're just going to clean it. It's easier. It's going to be very easy to clean. So to begin with, the first thing I'm going to do is that I can see that all these columns are not properly fitted. So I'm going to fit all the columns individually. But if I do that, it will take my time. If I do that individually, it will take time. So the best thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come here. When I click on that, anywhere within the column, I'll just double tap and everything has auto fit. So that is one way to auto fit columns in Excel. Well, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check if there are any blank space. So after I've done the auto fit, I'm going to check for blank space. Now to check for blank space, the first thing I'll do is Control A and then I'll click on F5. So when I click on F5 on my keyboard, I go to Special and then I go to blanks and OK. So there were no cells found, which means there were no blank cells. Well, that's nice. So after you've checked for blank spaces, the next thing you're going to do is to check for duplicates. So I'll highlight everything by clicking Control A. Then I'll go to my data. So under here, as you can see, remove duplicates. So under my data tools, I'm going to click on remove duplicates. So I want to check for the duplicate in all the columns. So I'll ensure that all the columns are being ticked. Well, they are being ticked. So I'll click on OK and no duplicates were found. Well, this data set is so clean. There's no more stress in cleaning the data. So after you've removed duplicates and you've checked for blank spaces, another thing you can check for is the spelling. So to check for spelling, I'll just go to review and then spelling. So do you want to continue checking at the beginning of the sheet? Yes, I want that. So since daily social media, well, is okay, I'll ignore all. I'll ignore all of them. So click on ignore all. It didn't work, so I'll click on ignore all, ignore. So I'll just click on ignore once, ignore, because all the spellings look correct to me, sure. There's no spelling error. So I'll just ignore, and spell check complete. So after I've removed duplicate, I've checked for blank space, I've also auto-fit my column and my rows, and I've spell checked everything. The final thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in a table. So to do that, I'm going to click on Ctrl A and then click on Ctrl T. Yes, so okay. So my table now is in a table. My data now is in a table format. So this is how to clean. That is how I clean this data set. So this data is not that difficult to clean because it's already semi-clean. So that is how to clean data sets. So after we've cleaned our data sets, the next thing we are going to do is to analyze this clean data set. Now, what are we analyzing? Well, we want to focus on the platform usage and we want to know how many hours were spent on each platform usage. What is the anxiety level for each platform? What is the addiction level for each platform? And what is the depression level for each social media platform? Now, to do that, I'm going to make use of my pivot table. So firstly, I'm going to analyze I'm going to analyze each platform, each social media platform, how many hours were spent on each social media platform. So I'm going to click on insert and I'm going to click on pivot table. So I'll go to existing. I already created a sheet. I already have a worksheet named pivot table. So I'll click on that worksheet and then I'll place my pivot table here. I'll click on OK. So I want to know each platform usage and the daily social media hours. That is the hours that are spent on each platform. So because this time the social media hours are in hours, I want the average rather than the sum. The average will be good for analysis. So I'm going to look for average. So I'm going to format the number from general. I'm going to change the number format to number and then two decimal place. Okay. Okay. So you'll notice that Instagram tends to have the highest. Teenagers prefer spending more time on Instagram than on TikTok, according to this analysis. So our next focus is going to be each platform usage and their anxiety level. So to do that, I'm going to go on insert pivot table on an existing worksheet. I'll go to the pivot table and I'll click on OK. So I want to know each platform usage and their anxiety level. So since the anxiety level is on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to find the average. So we'll work with the average, not the max, the average. So I'm going to format the number to number and then I'll click on OK, OK. So the anxiety level. So those who use TikTok they tend to be more anxious than those who use Instagram. That's interesting. So the next one is going to be we're going to focus on the platform usage and their addiction level. So I'll click on insert. I'll click on pivot table. So I want it to be on an existing worksheet, which is this pivot table. And I'll click on this cell. Okay. So on the platform usage, I want to know their various addiction level. That is, I want to know which platform is more addictive to teenagers. Which platform are they more addicted to? So we'll look at the average. And then we'll look at the number. We'll change the format to number. We'll change it to number. Okay. Okay. So as you can see, teenagers are more addicted to TikTok on average than they are to Instagram. So our next one is going to be the depression level. So I'll still do the same thing. Pivot table. I'm going to go to my existing worksheet, pivot table, and then I'll click on OK. So I want to know the platform and their various depression level. So we'll go to depression. Now I'll leave it at the sum because it's 0 to 1. So 0 means no depression, 1 means there's depression. So out of 1,200, 12 teenagers that use TikTok were depressed, 10 that use Instagram are depressed, and 9 that use both are depressed, meaning those who use TikTok tend to be more depressed than those who use Instagram. So our last analysis is going to be, let's know how many teenagers use Instagram, how many teenagers use TikTok, and how many use both. So to do that, I'll click on insert, I'll click on pivot table, I'll click on existing worksheet, pivot table. So I want to know the platform usage and I want to know how many teenagers make use of Instagram and how many make use of TikTok and how many make use of both. So I'll use the gender to just count the gender for me. And when I do that, so you can see that from our data set of 1,200, over 411 teenagers use Instagram, 398 use TikTok and 391 use both, meaning we have more Instagram users than TikTok users. Teenagers prefer using Instagram to TikTok. So after I've created our pivot table, the next thing we're going to create is the slicers. Now the slicers are tools that helps makes our dashboard more interactive. It helps streamline our analysis. In case we want to find a particular item in our table, we can make use of the slicer. So we don't create slicers, sorry, we insert them. So after inserting the pivot table, we are going to insert our slicer. Now to do that, I'm going to click on one of the pivot table. I'll click on insert and then I'll click on slicer. So I want the slicer for each platform usage. Okay. Now, when to insert this slicer, I was on this first pivot table, meaning if I should click on TikTok, only this first pivot table will be affected. But I want every of this pivot table to be connected to this slicer. So to do that, I'm going to right click, I'm going to report connection, and when I do that, I have all my pivot table listed here. So I'm going to click on all the pivot table. I'm going to click on all the pivot table. Okay, so now I've connected all these pivot table to this slicer. So when I click on TikTok, you notice that everything changes to just TikTok. When I click on Instagram, everything changes to just Instagram. So I'll clear that. So I also want another slicer for the gender. So I'm going to insert slicer and then I'm going to do for the gender, click on gender. Okay. So, but you notice that when I click on female, it is only the second pivot table that is affected. So I want to connect all the pivot table to this slicer. So I'm going to connect all the pivot table by clicking on the check. I'm going to check all the boxes and then click on OK. So that when I check for male, now you can see that everything here is for the males, meaning the males use Instagram the most, followed by TikTok, followed by both. Now, in terms of depression, seven males, Instagram has the highest level of depression. That is seven male teenagers are depressed, followed by five male teenagers in TikTok. But for the females, those who use TikTok are more depressed, but the males is Instagram. That is it. I've connected. So that is how to connect the slices to all these pivot tables. So after creating our pivot table and our slices, the next thing we're going to insert is the chart. So how do we insert the chart? Well, to insert the chart, I will highlight the whole. Let's first highlight the first pivot table. I'll highlight everything. So I'll click on insert and I'll go to charts. So I'm going to use a clustered column charts. So we have this chart here. So I've inserted the chart for the first one. So I'll just Control X and then I'll paste it in this worksheet. So this is the chart for the first one. The next one, I'm going to also, to insert the chart, just highlight everything. You go to insert. So I can go to recommended chart. It should recommend the chart for me. Well, I've used this chart before. Let's look at bar chart. So look at the clustered bar chart and I'm going to use this. So I'll also Control X and then go to my pivot chart and then I'm going to insert it. Let's create the next chart. So for this depression level, let's insert a pie chart. So I'll go to pie chart, but I think donut chart will do. So I'll go to donut chart and now you notice how it's both the platform usage and the value appear. So I'll just paste it in my pivot chart. So I'll come here and I'll paste it in my pivot chart. So I'm going to do the same thing for all of them. I'll just make use of, I'll just be inserting either clustered column charts or I'll insert bar chart or I'll insert the the bar chart. Yeah. So the last chart we're going to create is this one. So I'm going to click on insert. So I'll still do the same thing. Let's make use of, no, I don't like this. Let's insert another one. Let's make use of the ones recommended. Okay, so paste it on our chart here. We'll paste it here. So we have the 5 charts. So that is how to insert charts in Microsoft Excel. So we've inserted the 5 charts for this pivot table. So after inserting your charts, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to format these charts. I don't like the way it's looking, so we're going to format this chart. Now, so I'm going to format one, and I'll speed up the video so that it will be quicker. So to format this, the first thing I'm going to do is I don't want the grid line, the legend. I don't want the legend. I want the chart title and I want the axis. So, but since I'm going to be using a data label, I'm going to delete this. So I don't want this to be showing. So to do that, I'll just go to format. Okay, not format. I'll go to pivot chart analyze. So I'm going to click on it so that the fields button disappears. So now after I've had this chart, remember this chart is for the first one, which is average social media hours. So to title it, I'm going to change it as average average hours average hours spent on social media. So this is the average hours that I spent on this social media platform by teenagers. So teenagers tend to spend more time on Instagram than they do on TikTok, than they do on both on average. So I'm going to also insert my data label since I've removed the axis. So I'm going to make it bold. So I'll bold it. I'll change the font to Arial Black. Yes, so it's now thicker. So in this x-axis, I'm going to also bold it. I'm going to bold it, and I'm going to leave it at 12. So I'm going to leave it at 12 and I'll bold it. So I'm going to do the same thing for all of them. So just stick by as I quickly rush to do all of them. So I've formatted all the charts and formatted all the charts. So the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to ensure that all the charts are of the same width and the same height. Now to do that, I'll just click on one chart, then hold my shift key and click on all the charts. So I'll go to shape format. So when I go to shape format, you'll see this for the height, shape height. So let's make all of them to be, yeah, I think 3 is okay. Okay, let's make it to be 2.5. Let's make it 2.5. And then for the width, let's see. Okay, I think this should be okay. 4. So let's make it 2.5 and let's make it 4. So after that, the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to align them. Sorry, I'm going to align them. So let me align them so that they are of the same. There's no, yeah, I'm not in my dashboard yet, but let me just put this here. All right, so I've ensured that all my charts are of the same height and the same width. So I want my column to be on a straight, I want my titles to be on a straight line. So I'll change it to 12. I'll change this to 12 because I want it to be on a straight line. I don't want it coming down. So I'll change it to 12 also and I'll bold it. I should have done that when I was formatting the chart, but no problem. So in case you don't know how to change the or format the title, that's how to do it. So I want it to be on a straight line for all of them. So I don't want it coming down. Bold it, and then I will turn it to 12. Alright, so I have this chart. I have to bold this too. Control B. Yes. So I have this chart ready now. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create my dashboard.